Shalom, WJC family. It's time for our weekly Torah talk. This Saturday morning in synagogue, we read Parshat Korach. Korach was a rebel, along with his co-conspirators Datan and Aviram and On and 250 other people. They rebel against Moses and Aaron, and they try to take the reins of leadership from them. It's a very difficult and disturbing story. But what I want to talk about today in particular is not rebellion per se, as much as happiness, right? Korach is an unhappy character. And today I want to look at why and what we can learn from it. Because if we can figure out why Korach is unhappy, wandering in the desert under the leadership of Moshe, we might also learn something about our own happiness. In fact, I think that we will. Something very important to help us be happy in our own lives today. So, the first thing I want to point out is something that Rabbi Dalton pointed out in her Shabbat Mincha Shiur on Saturday evening. And if you didn't know, we're back in person doing Mincha and Mariv for Shabbat. I hope you'll join us. It is both in the sanctuary and on the live stream, and it includes a 40-minute or so Torah class. And Rabbi Dalton made the very interesting point. When we're told about Korach, we're told, Vayikach Korach, ben Yitzhar, ben Kehat, ben Levi. So Korach separated himself from everyone else. Who is he? Korach, the son of Yitzhar, the son of Kehat, the son of Levi. Now, the question Rabbi Dalton asked is, isn't it peculiar that a Levite who is a Ben Kehat is unsatisfied with his place, right? He comes to Moses and Aaron and he says, you guys have all the power and it's not fair. We're all holy. I should have the power, or at least I should share in some of that power. But what Rabbi Dalton pointed out was at the beginning of the book of Bamidbar, a few parshiot ago, when we read Bamidbar, we learned that the Kahatites are the most revered among the Levi'im. Besides the Kohanim themselves and Aaron as the Kohen Gadol, the Bnei Kahat, of which Korach is one, of whom Korach is one, they are given the most important job among Levites. Right, in transporting the tabernacle from place to place, they take the most valuable objects, the altar and the menorah, and so many other important objects. That is the job of the Kehatites. And Korach is one of them. So you would think, asked Rabbi Dalton, wouldn't he be satisfied to be a Kehatite? Wouldn't he be satisfied to be among the most revered of the Bnei Levi? It's a very interesting question. And to understand why the Kehatites, or at least Korach among the Kehatites, is so unhappy, we need to know something about the science of happiness and something called reference points. Now, I learned about reference points listening to a wonderful podcast called The Happiness Lab by Dr. Laurie Santos. It's the first season anyway, was 12 parts. I learned so much about happiness and unhappiness by listening. And the third episode is about something called reference points. Now, what we learn is that studies show, and they've done research about this, that when athletes compete, say the top-notch Olympians, the gold medal winner is always happiest. But between the silver medal winner and the bronze medal winner, who's happier? Inevitably, it's the bronze medalist, and quite frankly, by a lot. Why? Because of something called reference points. The reference point for the silver medalist is the gold medalist. The silver medalist thinks, I got so close to getting that top spot. If I just skated a little better, run a little bit faster, swum a little bit harder, I could be up on that podium, and I missed it. I missed my chance at the gold. The bronze medalist has a different reference point. The bronze medalist says to him or herself, hey, I got on the podium. I got a medal. That's pretty good, right? Their reference point is everybody who didn't get a medal at all. And so they're quite happy with their accomplishment of winning an Olympic medal. The gold medalist, obviously winner. Silver medalists hate it. They hate being the silver medalist. Their reference point is the gold medalist, and it drives them nuts. And Korach is a silver medalist, right? He is the most revered class of Levi, but just this close to being a Kohen. And so he's the most miserable because of his reference points. So why is this important to us? Because we also go through life with reference points. And when we feel like we're so close to getting life right, but we don't quite get to where we want to be, if I just had a little bit more money, or if I just got that one promotion, or if I had just done better at that one event or skill or test or whatever it might be, and we make ourselves miserable. So this is true for silver medalists. All silver medalists except, as I learned in the 3rd episode of Happiness Lab, for one incredible silver medalist who is one of the happiest people on earth. Who is this happy person? Someone you have likely heard of. Her name is Michelle Kwan. I remember Michelle Kwan. Michelle Kwan was favored to win the gold medal at the 1998 Olympics, and she got outskated by another American named Tara Lipinski. You would expect her to have been devastated. But in fact, she was okay. She continues to love skating. She continues to teach skating. She is a happy person. So what is Michelle Kwan's secret? Why is her reference point not Tara Lipinski, but instead something else that enables her to be happy, even though she got the silver medal and then 4 years later the bronze medal? But it's not bronze medal happiness that she has. So here's an interesting fact about Michelle Kwan. Michelle Kwan is not the only Kwan sister to be a skater. She's got an older sister named Karen. And when Karen and Michelle skated together in the Nationals, Michelle won 1st place, and Karen, her older sister and training partner, got 5th place. Didn't even make the podium. And you know what Karen was like towards Michelle? She was wonderful. She supported her. She encouraged her. She helped her train. She always had her back. And Michelle was so appreciative of Karen, and Karen was always her reference point. Michelle Kwan felt so privileged to be standing on the podium at all because she knew her beloved sister and partner and coach and trainer and helper wasn't on the podium. And that always remained her reference point. Michelle Kwan felt privileged just to be skating at the level at which she was skating. And on the podcast, you hear her interviewed and you hear her talk about the Olympics and skating out onto the ice with the rings interlinked underneath the ice and the power of that moment and how overwhelmed she was and privileged she felt just to be there, just to be able to be on the journey. Michelle Kwan loved ice skating. She loved every day getting up and getting on the ice and practicing. The things that so many athletes say, that's the grind, I have to do it to be at an elite level. She loved every minute of it. She was doing what she was meant to do, and she appreciated the journey. And so her reference point was different, and she remains happy. The happiest silver medalist of them all. And the truth is, this is the same opportunity is there for us, and this was the big fault of Korach. Here he was, able to be every day taking care of the tools that would be used to have God's presence literally rest among the people in the tabernacle, and that wasn't enough for him. Even though it was the hand-picked task that God had for him and his brethren, he wasn't happy with the role he was meant to play in the world. He had envy of Moses and envy of others, and couldn't be happy with who he was and what his lot was. Didn't have a sense that this was what God meant for him to do, even though the Torah tells us specifically. Right? He knew, in a way that most of us don't get the privilege to know, exactly what God had meant for him and his family to do. And that wasn't enough. And Korach couldn't appreciate the journey. He was always comparing himself to others. How about you? How about me? You know, we live in this, we hear about it, an age of fear of missing out, and we look at social media and other people's fantasy lives that they seem to be leading, and those are our reference points, and we say, what am I doing wrong? I must be getting life wrong, because these people all seem to be having a great time. And me, I'm just living a normal life. Yeah, you know what? Appreciate your normal life. Right? God has a tafkid, a role for you that is special, that was chosen just for you. And the journey of your life, like the journey of my life, is to figure out what that tafkid is, what it is that God has meant for us, and to do it. And to appreciate it. And to measure ourselves against nothing except how well we do on that journey. To measure ourselves against ourselves, our reference point should be that special purpose that God gave us. It doesn't matter what someone else's purpose is. If someone else has the purpose to be the leader, or to be the traveler, or to be the successful business person, whatever it is. For us, it's to be what God wants us to be. That's our job. That's our tafkid. We spent a lot of time during this pandemic talking about silver linings, right? The second place things that make this all okay. The truth is, maybe we shouldn't be looking for silver linings. As Laurie Santos says in the Happiness Lab, and I'm stealing it because I love the line, we should be looking for bronze linings, right? The things that make us feel privileged just to be in the game, just to be living our lives to the best of our ability. Those are our bronze linings. And when we can find that, we can avoid the envy and the ego that consumes Korach and his co-conspirators, and instead be able to be happy in exactly who we are, just as God meant us to be. May we all find our bronze reference points. May we all find the happiness of living the life God meant for us. And as always, if you need support on the journey, we are here for you to help figure out exactly what that role is for you, and to help in the privilege of traveling together.